Hey everyone, welcome to another live broadcast of the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardawar. I'm joined with our podcast producer Ben Elman. Hey Ben.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, we just want to get on, start chatting with you folks. We're waiting for my co-host Sherlyn Lowe to appear. She's getting ready and a little delayed this morning. But what are we going to be talking about? Samsung stuff, I think.
Yes,
Another freaking Samsung event. So there's that. How are you, chat room? How is all of our regular listeners? Thank you, Mark Dell, Jonathan Anderson, Nico Bellish. Is that the Grand Theft Auto 4 character?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the name of
Nico.
Grand Theft Auto.
That I love Grand Theft Auto 4. That was a great story. How are we doing, everybody? Thank you for joining us. We will get started in a couple of minutes. We will be talking about things other than Samsung, so do not worry. That's sort of like our bread and butter. But we also want to talk a bit about what's going on at Basecamp, which, if you've been following the news on Twitter, they've made some weird decisions around political speak at the company. We'll also be diving a little bit into Substack and the newsletter trend. So many people are going to newsletters. I thought we hated email. So that's news to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little confusing.
It is funny, like what is old is new again, as usual. People are saying your camera's looking fly, Ben. Cool.
Yes. Many thanks to Devendra for giving me a camera that actually works.
Yes. New camera. How is
someone says Michael Sanders says good morning from Military City, USA, also known as San Antonio, Texas.
Oh boy. Good morning.
Is San Antonio, Texas where is it? Okay, yes. So the San Antonio Missions is a minor league baseball team. For a few home games a few years ago, they changed their name to the Flying Chanclas of San Antonio, which I think is
I remember
the
reading
funniest thing in the world. There is still Flying Chanclas merch, and I think that they should just bring that back every year. That is just about the best fun name for a baseball team I've ever heard. So, Michael Sanders, have you ever been to a Flying Chanclas game? Yes, Jonathan Anderson, I am using a new camera. Finally.
It was because before you had the MacBook, whatever.
Yeah, I had the MacBook camera.
MacBook.
Yeah, the 2012 MacBook. Like even
Apple.
even one of the newer MacBooks would
They're still 720p.
It's still only 720p, not even 1080.
It's still 720p on the MacBooks. They say the sensors and things are getting better, but it's tough to tell. Apple's not good at cameras, unfortunately, or not good at computer cameras. They're more about phone cameras. The Returnal review embargo has lifted. So if anybody is excited about that on PS5, I'll be talking a bit about that. That game is pretty cool. Pretty crazy.
I've heard people saying a lot of really good things about Disco Elysium, and apparently that's going to be on Switch sometime soon.
It is on now. That's on now, yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Sherlyn is on her way in.
Sherlyn is coming. Disco Elysium is good. It is out. Everybody should play it if you like good audio and good like narrative design and everything. Such a well-written game. It's okay. The chat room is waiting for you, Sherlyn. And we are live, just FYI.
Yay, hi. I was going to put my hair up, but that's a good shout. Jesus.
Good shout.
I'm going to tie my hair up right now.
All right, folks.
Today.
It's going to be mostly Samsung Day, but we've got a bunch of other news.
I haven't done a week like this in a while where it's like 3 days of being on camera like simultaneously or like consecutively.
Well, this is a chill day, so
yeah. Relatively.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to make sure our recording stuff is all set up.
Yeah, as usual, folks. Yeah, I'm recording, so just go ahead whenever you want, and we could do quiet time after everything. As usual, folks, we'll be going through our topics. In between segments, we will have some time for Q&A, but we're recording the podcast, so we can't stop and chat, unfortunately, in the middle of every segment. But we'll keep an eye on what's going on in the chat, or at least Ben will.
Yep.
All right, I'm recording, by the way.
Okay, so if we're recording and everything, then let's just do a sync, and then we can go straight into the intro.
Okay.
And if we need to get room tone, we can get room tone some other time.
I'll do the intro, and then I'll throw to you for Samsung stuff, Sherlyn.
Okay, so syncing in 3, 2, 1. All right, go.
Sure. Okay, here we go, folks. Stay tuned, and you'll see all the sausage being made. This is how we roll. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardawar.
I'm Reviews Editor Sherlyn Lowe.
This week, we'll be chatting about Samsung's fourth, freaking so many events. Samsung's April Unpacked event, where they showed off a whole bunch of computers, and we've got some news happening around the tech industry, too, that we'll be diving into. As always, if you're enjoying the Engadget podcast, please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes. That's always super helpful. Drop us an email at podcast@engadget.com. Sherlyn, I feel like this is all you because you've been so Samsung heavy this week. Why did they have another event, and what did Samsung show off?
Yo, that's a good question. That was actually the first question I asked Samsung when we had like our post-briefing Q&A with them. And their answer, now I'll tell you my answer after this. But their answer is that they're like, oh, PCs are more relevant than ever. We feel like we have this unique position. Excuse me. We feel like we have this unique position where, we can blend our mobile stuff with the PC stuff, and like no one else can do that. So we thought we needed this is the right time for a dedicated event. My take is that it's just easy to throw a virtual event and no one else was doing it. So
they had open time to market themselves, right? It's pretty much it. Yeah.
They also probably had I don't know, they're making money off of these. No, I don't think they're making money off of these, but the traffic to their streams, if you look on YouTube, is crazy. Like it does really good views. So it's entirely, I don't know. They like the clout, maybe.
It's clout, right? And everybody talks about you for that morning, right? And it is media that people can use in their videos. Like it's all for the YouTubers. It's all for the conversation, and they could just reuse this footage too. So I see what Samsung is doing here. It's really trying to flood the zone with news to make us think everything they do is important, which in many cases it is. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true for the PCs.
I know. I like their PCs, and I've liked them for a while, right? I mean, I don't know if you've had some experience with the latest Galaxy Book laptops, Dev, but
not the latest. But you know what, Sherlyn? Do you remember 10 years ago when Windows computers were not every Windows computer was really good looking, and Samsung had these super thin Windows PCs that looked a lot like the MacBook Air. And I remember walking by, there was a Samsung store in Columbus Circle in New York. And I remember walking by there just to look at those computers because they look really cool. They're really sleek and thin. I haven't really paid attention to Samsung since then. Are they doing interesting things in the PC world?
I mean, this time around, the Galaxy Book Pro series actually does kind of look MacBookish, in my opinion. But the Galaxy Book Flex lineup and the Ion and the Flex Alpha, they actually have their own style to them. They're square. They're very, very thin. They have nice colors. I think Samsung did colors well with laptops. I still don't think they're as stylish, I would say, as an HP. But they're doing a good job. So
Samsung, what's funny is that they are going edge to edge, but they still have the bottom chin.
Yeah, a little bit.
So many laptop people, whereas Dell and HP at the very least, and Asus have done a good job of getting those bezels out completely. So not only the top and the sides, but right along the bottom. And for me, I feel like the bottom makes a big difference, right? Because it's the screen just flows right into the keyboard. We're not quite getting that with these Samsungs, unfortunately. They look nice.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. They're definitely 16:9 still. And that was actually a topic of discussion on our live stream on YouTube right after the Samsung event. 16:9 feels outdated. If you start at especially since I think one of our YouTube commenters mentioned that, given that a lot of cheaper laptops starting at like $600 are already moving to 1610.
Yeah. So
this
slightly
is a more expensive laptop.
It's yeah.
Exactly. It's going to look outdated. So I agree with you. I mean, I believe I'm using the Galaxy Book Flex right now. It's 16:9. I barely noticed the bezel because Samsung has it in black, so like it almost blends with the bottom, but there is a chin. Like you can tell, like my taskbar is higher than where I would like it to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think if it was 16:10, they could even get away with that bottom lip or something and just really make it look a little modern. Certainly, people complaining about 16:9. I can't remember the last time I reviewed a 16:9 laptop. Maybe a gaming PC or something, but even like a 13-inch gaming notebook, you kind of know why that's 16:9. But for a productivity machine, not quite sure why you do that. So what did Samsung introduce?
I was going to say, for the people who did not hear the news, Samsung introduced like a slew of laptops. At first, I thought it was just a quartet of laptops, which is the Galaxy Book Pro series. These are a clamshell and a convertible model, so the Book Pro and the Book Pro 360, and both come in either 13 or 15-inch sizes. So that's the 4. And the highlight of these is not only are they Samsung's thinnest and lightest PCs yet, they're also the first with AMOLED screens or AMOLED screens. And I mean, that technology Samsung has been using in its phones for a while now. They're bringing it to their laptops.
They were the first company to bring AMOLED to tablets too. Like people forget that, but the first Galaxy Tab S, I remember going to an event in New York, which I think was at Radio City Music Hall, where they just like took out an auditorium and showed off these things. It was wild and like I remember that. It was like 2013, 2014 maybe, to see bright OLED coming right from a laptop, and only Samsung was doing it at that point. Yeah.
On tablets. I totally forget they did that on tablets. I might not have been like around at the time.
You definitely reviewed like several Galaxy Tab S's.
I have reviewed a lot of I might have blocked out the memory of it. I back then I reviewed Samsung's cameras when they made cameras. But so the AMOLED, I mean, is one of the features, and Samsung clearly knows its strengths, right? To your point, they've been doing this. We're the first to do AMOLED on a tablet. We're the first to do AMOLED on this. This is one of their strengths, displays. So that's nice to see Samsung do, and I think is a differentiator from other PC brands out there. But in addition, the Galaxy Book Pro 360 13-inch, has a lot of caveats, is also potentially the company's first 5G laptop. And I say potentially because they're like, this is our first 5G laptop. They're telling everyone that, but they have no details on when, where, and what type of 5G. So is it sub-6 millimeter wave or both? So to me, I'm not going to just be like, this is the world's first 5G PC. I mean, Samsung's first 5G laptop, because you don't seem to actually support it yet.
It seems like a Simpsons sketch where you're like, so does it have 5G? When is it going to be available? How does it work? And their only answer is yes. Yes, 5G.
Yes.
I don't have any more details to share beyond that.
Yeah, exactly.
It is funny we're getting all these AMOLED laptops from them now, because I think 2 or 3 years ago, that's when OLED started actually appearing in more notebooks too. So I remember Dell and a bunch of others made a big deal when 15-inch OLED panels came out. Again, it seems like Samsung is kind of behind the pack. Is there anything special about these screens?
Can I tell you my fun hands-on story, Dev? You're gonna love this. So Samsung invited us to a very, socially distanced, like a following all guidelines sort of hands-on event in New York. So we had a 1-hour block to go see their Galaxy Book Pro series, and we were briefed before we went to see these things. So one of a few things that they mentioned during the briefing that I wanted to check out include this thing called an intelligent color engine. During the briefing, they said the display will know what you're doing and then adjust the color output more or less to be suitable for your needs, right? So I was like, okay, how does this work? And they really couldn't give me an answer. So I was like, all right, if they can't, I'm going to have to see this for myself. And then the other thing they mentioned during the briefing related to the screen is that there's a privacy screen feature. And I was like, oh, okay, you're like kind of like HP over here, because HP has had that feature for a while now. So I went to check this out, and they couldn't give me an answer during the briefing as to how the color engine worked. I finally found out in the display settings, and you look under there's this like adaptive display mode, something like that. You choose your color profile. It looks like by default it was set to auto. And then I clicked auto, and it dropped down, and it showed 4 other profiles: Vivid, which is the native AMOLED, Natural, which is the sRGB spectrum, Photo Editing, which is the Adobe RGB spectrum, and then Movie, which is DCI-P3 spectrum. Basically, you have 4 modes you can choose from, and I toggled through all of them, and there were like slight differences in each. It does appear to work. And then if you set it to auto, I believe the system will just decide which profile to use.
That is weird, by the way, because for like creatives and artists and everybody who's like work depends on color accuracy, if your system is changing things on you, that would be a little strange. I know Apple kind of does this a little with some of its different color matching features, but
I think that's a good point. I think that's why like you probably wouldn't set it to auto, and hopefully auto is smart enough to know like if you're on Photoshop, just don't keep changing, right? But if you're using something where color accuracy is very important to you, stick to your Adobe RGB or whatever DCI-P3 that you're working in, and don't set it to auto. But that was just one software feature, and that stands out about the display. Let's talk about this privacy screen, people.
Okay. What's up with the privacy screen?
When I tell you the words privacy screen or secret screen, Devendra, what do you imagine it to look like?
I mean, at first I think it's like maybe just a thing that physically, hides your screen. But I also know the way HP's works is that if you're not directly in front of the computer, it kind of like you kind of get a shaded view of the screen, right? If you're off angle or something. So I would assume that. Yeah.
Right. That's what I assumed too. And that's kind of how Samsung described it during this mass briefing, like the press briefing too, right? Where it was like, oh, we help you hide your sensitive information so people at an angle can't see it. They definitely said the words at an angle can't peek or something.
Yeah.
First of all, after it took us a while to figure out how to enable the secret screen feature, which was we went into the Samsung security app and then went to secret screen, and then figured out that there are 2 options, right? You can do dark screen mode or opacity mode. And then you select your intensity of the effect, and then you hit the keyboard shortcut, which is Windows F11, to enable it. So I did that, and then nothing happened. And I was like, what's going on? Turns out Samsung Security, the app, does not support this feature. So I had to open up Edge and then try it again. And I had this set, I think, to opacity mode at first. I was like, how is this? When I hit F11, the screen just went translucent. It was just like, wait, I was not expecting Edge, not Internet Explorer, Edge, to just go transparent. So like I was on the Engadget homepage, and like
so you could see through to your desktop. Is that what
you could see through to the desktop? But in my case, it was actually the Samsung Security app right above the desktop. You basically see through the window to whatever is behind it, and I was like, does this even work? Like I'm sure people over behind my shoulder can't see, but I can't see.
No, like you can't see.
What's going on?
So is that the actual feature? There's no like actual screen blocking feature off angle or anything?
That is the
Samsung.
It's the software layer. You can choose dark mode, which will dim the specific window you're on. So
it's physically they're physically changing the screen, so hurting your usability to make things more private. That's great. I could just dim a screen. Anybody can just dim their laptop screen.
You can dim the screen, which would be faster, except for I guess this is like a 1 keyboard shortcut to quickly jump to like 10 darkness or something, right? So okay, fine, but like specifically only for the window that you're on or the supported window that you're on, I wouldn't use dark mode. I would use the opacity mode, because after a while I figured how to make it work. You'd have to have like a custom wallpaper on your desktop for it to be visible at some point. It was fun. Like it was fun for me to play with, but I don't know if it's going to be useful. might have to go to CES to see.
That reminds me of the days of like window blinds and all the Windows software accessory things, where it's like, oh, you could just make your taskbar, or you can make your windows, transparent just for fun. It's because it looks cool, right? Because I think starting with Windows Vista, they added transparencies, and
I remember that.
That's weird. It's like Samsung's just going right back to that. So anyway, that's the Galaxy Book Pro. What I see more models from them. So
there's
what
more. I know. So yeah. I was surprised. And by the way, if you guys listening or watching want more details on the Galaxy Book Pro series, check out my hands-on Engadget. I try to be as exhaustive as possible.
That looks like a review. It's very long.
I know it's really long, but I still didn't cover every single thing. So if you have questions, you can feel free to hit me up on Twitter. But so 2 more laptops from this event, from this Unpacked event that we weren't expecting because we weren't briefed on it. These are the Galaxy Book Pro, Galaxy Book and the Galaxy Book Odyssey. So for those who've been following Samsung for a while, you might know that Odyssey is their gaming brand of, I guess, devices and accessories. So the Galaxy Book Odyssey, let's start with that one. That is their kind of gaming centric of the 2 Galaxy Book laptops. The Galaxy Book series is different from the Book Pro, mostly in that it doesn't have an AMOLED and it uses an LCD screen, runs at full HD. The Galaxy Book Odyssey is, I believe, a 15-inch. I'm not sure if there's also a 13-inch. I got to double check that. But highlight here, and truly the only real interesting feature about it is that it will be able to come spec'd with NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3050 graphics cards, which, by the way, before Samsung's event. Yeah, exactly. We're not even announced. We were checking with you too, Devendra.
Yeah, there were rumors that, hey, NVIDIA's gearing up to announce something new, like lower end cards. Has not been confirmed yet. Well, I guess Samsung just confirmed it. I'm sure NVIDIA is pissed. Oh boy.
Yeah. They're either, I mean, they have to be upset because NVIDIA wasn't on stage. And at their event, Samsung had a lot of people on stage with them remotely or fake. But NVIDIA's RTX 3050 and 3050 Ti are 2 cards that you can get in the Galaxy Book Odyssey. Of course, given that the cards haven't actually been announced, there weren't a lot of details during Samsung's event on like what kind of horsepower you can expect out of these, what price they might be able to go for. I mean, on their own. Obviously, it's not an NVIDIA event.
They seem really light on details in general at this Samsung. Like people didn't know what was up. That is always weird. So anyway, it sounds like these cards. Let me just say. Sound like they're going to be replacing the GTX 1660 and the 1650 maybe. So like the super low tier things. Samsung has dedicated gaming laptops, right? Just called the Odyssey. That's their whole Odyssey line. So a Book Odyssey is kind of like a weird in between, right? Yeah. Like it is an ultra portable that you can play some games on, I guess, if you wanted to. Yeah.
I totally agree with that take. I mean, I think that Book is like their mainstream line, and then Book Odyssey, like this is the first time I'm here. And also the design. Let's talk about this design a little bit. Just to describe it a little bit, this is like from the picture we're seeing, it's like a black lid with this like strange.
It's a cube.
There's a little logo that looks like a cube, and then there's some kind of like not embossing, but some strange like markings on the sides. Okay. Devendra, tell me this. Yeah. You've been covering gaming laptops for a while now. And of all the big PC brands, there are, of course, like a ton of, I mean, they all each have their own like sub-gaming brands, like Dell's Alienware, Asus with ROG. Has the Odyssey brand been something that's like a major player to reckon with in that space?
No, absolutely not. And in fact, like we I've had chances to review these things, and they've just been, we have to be very careful about what we review, because reviewing a laptop takes like a week or 2. Yeah. If it's not fundamentally different than everything else in the market, why am I going to spend time in you? And I've just never really had a reason to go deep on the Odyssey line, because they've been very basic gaming laptops. This is kind of cool, I guess, but we're seeing a lot of other machines like Asus's G series, which I really like. So the G14 I reviewed last year, that's a 3.5 pound 14-inch notebook, and has good graphics, not just the lower tier card. So we have all the stuff already. I just reviewed the G15. I don't know why I should care about this. Yeah.
Yeah, if it remains the only laptop out there with the 3050,
yeah, right now, yeah.
Then, like, if that still remains the case when like review units are available,
it's coming in August. We're gonna have more by then. They were just the first to announce it.
I don't know if there's any other reason, because like every other spec about this notebook seems pretty like it
looks boring as hell.
And like
there's nothing super exciting about the way it looks or anything either. It's just
it's not even like got a high refresh rate. Samsung still won't tell us what the refresh rate is. Take the Galaxy. I mean, I have a feeling that's probably why they didn't brief press ahead of time on the Odyssey, right? Because it's, they're probably going to get a lot of questions they didn't want to answer about it. But the one last laptop that Samsung did unveil is the Samsung Galaxy Book. Basically, think of this as your super starter, no frills notebook out of Samsung's Galaxy Book family. This is the entry level. But be aware that even though during the event and in multiple press releases, the company says this starts at $599 or $549, that is for the base model, which will most likely be the Celeron model. The specs list, the spec sheet lists a series of Intel processors, starting with the Celeron, moving up to Pentium, moving up then to Core i3, i5, i7. So for $549, probably you're getting the Celeron model, which not
great. We're probably not getting that in the US, right? Because I think our note was it's $800 in the US starting.
Oh yeah, so we're getting that in the US for in the second half of the year.
But not the cheaper models.
Yes, the Celeron. I think Samsung knows that the US will crap all over the Celeron and Pentium model, so we're probably going to get at $800 like the i3 version. I'm not sure. They don't have details on what configuration. They just know we're going to start at around 800, and then they put in parentheses price subject to change. So who knows? Samsung basically can't make up its mind at this point.
I think they probably looked at like their calendar of events and things like when can we announce things when nobody else is doing things. So doing it now is actually pretty good because hey, there are probably going to be some announcements coming from Intel and Nvidia in the coming weeks. So it does kind of behoove them to be out here, carve out their own space to talk about these things. They just can't have the details we actually want until closer to release, unfortunately. Yeah.
You bring up a good point, which is that like Intel and Nvidia have news. And speaking of these names, Samsung also had like a couple of other people. Pane dialed in.
Panos, yeah, we love him from Surface.
Pre-recorded. Yeah. He's great. He came in to pretend to say hi to TM and GB. TM Rowe being Samsung's keynote spokesperson, and then Gregory Bryant from Intel's GB. And the speculation as to why Samsung had a dedicated event, I think on our live stream chat yesterday, Wednesday, Chris Velasco, our senior mobile editor, said that it could be because they had these commitments to their partners, right? Like maybe their partners also wanted a stage thing where they could talk about these collaborations. I know Intel also, right. Intel also mentioned during the event that it has developed a co-engineering team with Samsung, and it's working on new microarchitecture for some sort of mobile chip design. We don't know. I don't know if this will necessarily put the Exynos PC rumors to rest, but remember that Samsung's also rumored to be working on Exynos chips for PCs.
And they probably need better graphics. So there is a couple of weeks ago, folks, we talked about Intel's huge ambition to be more of a chip foundry company. This is part of that too, because they could be the ones who are building these chips for Samsung. And I don't know. Seems like the market's getting really interesting. It would be kind of cool if Samsung had their own ARM chip design with Intel's graphics or something, and then use that in future devices. It's going to be an interesting next few years for PCs. Yeah,
I really, really look forward to reviewing these things. Truly,
is that true? So let's take this all together. Like Galaxy Book Pro is a MacBook Pro competitor, is sort of like a powerful PC competitor.
Yeah, it does actually look a lot like a MacBook, by the way.
So I saw the little like preview window screen just for the Galaxy Buds. Looks exactly like the AirPods screen for the case and battery and everything. But anyway, what do you think of these computers compared to everything that is out there right now?
So if you look at the dimensions alone, the Book Pro series certainly are super thin and light. I think they're lighter than the latest XPS 13, the latest HP Spectre X360 13. The Galaxy Book Pro 15-inch that I picked up at the hands-on. The second I picked it, I was like, oh my god! Like I turned around, I was telling Samsung rep, it was LG gram level light, but not LG gram level plasticky or like flexy. So it feels pretty sturdy and dense while still being light. I love for you to like get your hands on these at some point.
I want to feel them. They look super light. I could just tell just based on the port size that these are probably even lighter than like the MacBook Air or what Apple is doing. But that means bad battery life, folks. Like that is, you lose something by going for complete thinness and lightness. And even Apple kind of stepped away from that with the MacBook Pro 16-inch, right? That got heavier than the 15-inch before it. So yeah, okay, we'll see.
They upgraded their charging speed, it's 65-watt charging, so you get 8 hours and 30 minutes. That might count for something. But yeah, we don't know what battery life will be like yet. Samsung estimates 20 hours of video playback, 17 hours or 16 hours of average to mixed use. So honestly, we'll have to wait till I get one into review before we can make like some of these, like vouch for some of these claims. But yeah, let's stay tuned. We did have like a little point though, Devendra, you and I, about what Samsung is doing with its PC lineup. We complain on this show a bunch about how Samsung makes too many damn phones. And it does seem like now, if you consider it, Samsung makes the Galaxy Book Pro, Galaxy Book Pro 360. It also still continues to make its QLED laptops, which are the Galaxy Book Flex, Book Flex Alpha, Book Flex Ion, I believe. Then there is the Galaxy Book and the Galaxy Book Odyssey. Who knows what other laptops might be in store, but
they have Chromebooks, they have
Chromebooks, yes.
Yeah.
Gosh, and don't forget, they don't want to mention it anymore, but they have a Snapdragon laptop somewhere too. They're
Nobody
just not talking about
their
it.
Snapdragon laptops. I don't think this is, if Samsung has like a unified line that's just like, here's Galaxy Book, the Pro is for pros, the normal book is for normal folks,
Starter,
and then the Odyssey's for people who want to do a bit of gaming. Like, this is nice, this is clean, it makes sense. It's everything else outside of this line that can be kind of confusing. I don't think it really matters to Samsung. Like, they just want to get stuff on store shelves. They don't have Apple stores, they don't have too many Samsung stores. There were a couple in New York, but they don't have like stores where people go in and play around with all their products. So they just want things that Microsoft can put in their stores and Best Buy can put on shelves and people can just buy. Samsung doesn't think like Apple, unfortunately, in terms of overall product visibility and stuff.
I will say I still have liked the Samsung laptops that I have used, but if Samsung keeps introducing new models and without simplifying the lineup a little bit, I'm gonna start getting pretty irate. Irritated.
All right. Irritated. That's going to be the headline for our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy Book Pro.
Laptops. Too many.
Okay, I think that's a good place to end that segment.
Do we want to do Q&A? Let's do Q&A for Samsung.
We've got some Q&A things. Nice. I was asking people if they have any Q&A questions and also banking stuff. So I think it's Sajal Goswami said that they saw the Galaxy Odyssey and wonder if it's going to be competing with products like the Dell XPS series, maybe.
The Odyssey doesn't compete with the XPS. No,
I think that's more like, so Dell has like their actual gaming brand Alienware, and Dell also has like their budget gaming laptops that are under Dell. So that sounds more like a Dell G5, or something, the 15-inch competition there. Budget, not super premium, because they have dedicated Odyssey gaming notebooks too.
Exactly.
And while we were talking about the feature of like window transparency and stuff, Mark Dell said, is this screen mode like a boss mode, like in old DOS games?
Yeah. I mean, sort of, right? But I'm pretty sure your boss can figure out what's happening. If they walk right behind you and you're doing something like playing a game or watching something, it's not that hard to figure out.
And can you explain this to me? Is this sort of like how people made skins for Reddit that make it look like a spreadsheet or something?
I think it's that. I only played very few DOS games when I was a kid, but certainly there were keyboard combinations you could do that would kind of bring you right back to a desktop looking environment or something. I used to know people, in cubicles who would just have like, little mirrors hooked up like on the corners of their cubicles to see
awesome.
like who's incoming, what's going on from every corner. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Like that was
one of the Flash games last week. I talked about Flash games that I miss playing. One of the Flash games I used to play was called Waste Time in Your Office, and it's literally that thing where like you're supposed to do things like clip your nails or like make a phone call but when your boss comes, you need to go back to your computer, and that's a Flash game.
Please don't clip your nails at the office, please.
I won't. I never.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Also, like, remember cubicles? That alone is kind of a dated
Charlene and I have a little cubicle or like desks just gathering dust right now somewhere in New York. It is it's all very weird. All our plants are dead. Yeah.
So Jonathan Anderson says Samsung just needs to put a camera in the back and make the screen seem completely see-through.
Okay. That would be cool. So Microsoft could do that with the Surface book. They could do that because that has the rear camera. Yeah.
I think that it would actually be kind of cool if they did something like that, but then, had sort of the portrait blur effect like you have on your camera, Dev. And so like you could just place your, whatever icons or whatever other stuff.
We're getting there. Like
people would actually start trying to like clean up their desk space if that was the case.
I kind of would love that if you put like multiple cameras on the back, actually get some. So you need at least 2 for depth sensing. So it's not just like a flat image in the back too, but do that with these bezels going away. Like that's eventually where we're going to be. Like it's all the march towards holographic screens. So that is a good way to fake it. Yeah.
I finally opened up the chat and I just wanted to say Clayman had a very funny comment. Lenovo is such a cute little laptop maker. I just want to rub its belly. I do too. Especially if the people who work at Lenovo, it's kind of like, oh,
okay, great. I wish their laptops were better quality. I wish they break all the time.
I forget what is Lenovo's gaming laptop name.
I don't know. I
don't think they might have a dedicated.
They've had some with GPUs. It's just like we have been really disappointed with what Lenovo has done with the ThinkPad line for years. So hey, get that quality back up, folks. And all of you.
The thing with Lenovo is that the longevity of them is not so great. Like after a year, they start kind of crapping out. A lot of people report some sort of like product durability issue. So we have issues with that. But Lenovo, I have a soft spot for them for being like, they do make some good laptops. Like some of their higher end yogas are really nice looking. And they were one of the first, I think, to make that hinge, the 360-degree hinge. So
I mean, they did a lot of stuff like that. Somebody mentioned Legion. That is the Lenovo gaming line, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you for
thank you, chat.
Yeah, that's not the most important thing in the chat though. It's Lenovo. Kind of like the cute anime character. Let's move off of that. So Eswa Ekpo says that they're really curious when it comes to energy consumption. What does an AMOLED screen bring to the table, and how does it stack up against other technologies such as LCD?
I can take that one unless you want to, Dev, because display text really well.
Well, the main thing is like a lot of computers lately have been using this new ultra low power display technology. So that's a lot of LCDs have been doing that. But I haven't heard too much about these new AMOLED screens. So clearly LCDs have gotten good. They can use between 1 to 2 watts of power, assuming you're not doing crazy color, crazy brightness, and high refresh rates. But how do they use AMOLEDs compared to normal LCDs, Sherlyn?
I believe like AMOLEDs versus LCDs, the same, I think, argument with OLEDs versus LCDs, right? Which is you get like better contrast ratios, you get better like crisper colors, more accurate colors, and brighter and more even, brightness across the screen just because of their individual like light emitting diodes. But that to me, one of the biggest issues is that the potential for battery drain is huge, right? Because like you said, Dev, the PC industry is moving towards this low power display technology. I think I can't remember the name for it. LTP. I don't know. Intel introduced like a low power display like a while back too, and everyone's using it. So when I asked Samsung about the battery drain and the potential battery drain, they were like, "Oh, that's why we built these modes to really prolong the battery life." I don't know what voice I'm doing right now, but it's my corporate overlord voice. And so that's why like we really need to get these into test out. I will say visually, the difference between the AMOLEDs that I saw at the Samsung hands-on event compared to the QLEDs, the QLED that I'm looking at now, it's not huge. The most disappointing thing for me was I took these laptops, the Book Pro, out onto a balcony at the event. At max brightness, I couldn't really see the screen's dark wallpaper. It was hard.
Good.
It's not good.
Is that the reflectivity or is it the brightness of the panel? Just isn't enough.
Brightness of the panel was bad on a dark wallpaper. Engadget.com was, I could still see it, but it was definitely like it struggled, like it was dim. If you look at the pictures that I put on our article for the hands-on, I had to like up shadow so much. That's why you're seeing this like very bad HDR effect, because the screens were that dim and everything else was blowing out if I focus on them. So we'll see. Maybe it's because they were like demo units, but anyway, I hope I answered the like AMOLED versus LCD versus OLED question. AMOLED just being like Samsung's version because it's got an active matrix on top, so it's like
it's a weird thing too that they're really pushing this, whereas on TVs, Samsung's like no OLEDs, no, none, not at all. We don't want to build OLEDs at all. Leave that up to LG and Sony and everybody because LG makes all the OLED panels. Just kind of funny. Like the Samsung QLED stuff, I'm not a huge fan of.
Peanut Air says in the chat that the AMOLED screens have a very weird subpixel configuration. Have they explained why?
I think that's been a complaint for a while. Yeah. Like people would take like microscopes to like the AMOLED tablets and the phones and stuff, and there would be weirdness compared to like a normal LCD or something. Yeah.
Hello to I can poop twice a day, yay, Wilso. But I can poop twice a day, yay says, I sometimes wonder how Samsung monopolized the display market. I think we talked about this earlier, Dev, but I personally feel like LG, it depends on the market, right? Like I think LG still, is still kind of around. So I don't really know what market you're talking about. I can poop twice a day, yay. Like which display market do you feel
Samsung is good at the phone mobile market, that's the thing, smaller screens, but LG is like king of the other display. So LG Display is a whole, separate entity from LG, the proper company, and LG Display shows off all those demos we see at CES every year. But they're the people who make OLED. Nobody else is really producing OLEDs right now. So LG at least has cornered that tech.
I'm wondering if like who do phone makers buy their screens from? I think mostly it is Samsung. Although I do hear people talk about LG, so it's like, anyway,
there's a lot of stuff, and computer monitor panels come from different companies. Computer like tablet panels come. It's very confusing. I think it really only matters on the TV side, and as screens get bigger. But we'll see. Do we want to move on? Do we have more questions?
Yeah, let's move on, and let's not get sucked into too much media chat on this.
That's fine. We can acknowledge things, though.
Oh, you mean the upcoming topic? Oh, okay.
I can do this real quick.
We'll be back to
We'll be back, folks. Let's move on to some other news. And I just want to chat real quickly about the drama at Basecamp, which I'm not even sure if you, our listeners, care too much about what's happening here. But I think it's a really interesting example of kind of the changing attitudes at tech companies. So Basecamp, it's a company that provides sort of like team chat software,
organizing
things
software.
Like that.
Dev, can you take a step back? I don't think you want to tell listeners, I don't think that you care about this. I think you want to tell them you care about this, and this is why it could ripple back out.
Okay.
So start from the top of the segment again.
Okay. Let's move on to some other news. And I just want to bring up something that quickly happened at Basecamp this week, because it ended up being something that took over Twitter and a lot of the conversation in the tech industry. Basecamp announced that they would be basically banning societal and political chatter within their company, Basecamp. So within their like company chat room, Basecamp creates this organizational software, I believe, for companies, right? It's project management. It is a way for people to go back and forth and chat about different projects. But they basically banned societal and political chat. They also banned a couple other things that just seem weird, like paternalistic benefits, like fitness, wellness, and education benefits. They said they're no longer going to be dwelling on decisions. Like it's a weird reading that. Yeah. Yeah, reading that blog post by founder and CEO Jason Fried just felt a little crazy making, because it did feel like these guys from down on high just really dictating the way people should think and speak at their company. And I think what's also really interesting is that Jason Fried and their co-founder, Basecamp's co-founder, David Heinemeier Hansen, he's the creator of Ruby on Rails. He's CTO at Basecamp. These are people who talk about politics on Twitter all the time, and they talk about work environment and how the tech industry is handling things. And it's not, they say like they're not banning how people can what they do or what they speak about outside of work space on Twitter or elsewhere, but just within work they're kind of like locking this down. And this is a really interesting dichotomy, because to me it seems like I thought DHH on Twitter, which is his handle, I thought they kind of got a lot of the problems we were facing as a society. I thought they kind of like were committed to helping us change it. But when people are discussing those issues in their house, in their company, they're like, no. I don't want to think too hard about this. So this is really just interesting to me on a personal level, just seeing how the tech industry works. Casey Newton on his at his newsletter did a little more reporting, and apparently it all boiled down to like this weird named list. Basecamp employees basically had a list of customer names that they would just make fun of, like a funny sounding name list thing. It's like, okay, sure, if you have like a Seymour Butts or something, right? Like they just like they collected a list of that. But apparently there were some Asian names in there. Apparently there were names where things just sounded funny, and they ended up like that lasted for years. And apparently the discussion around that list triggered a lot of these policies, because employees tried to bring it up to them. Some employees took on diversity work on their own to kind of like bring it up within the company. It's a small company. They have like 60 people. But when they tried to bring up the issues surrounding this list with the co-founders kind of rejected that discussion and just instituted this policy. It was like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. I find it kind of weird. I wouldn't want to work at a place like this. Also because I don't know what defines political or societal speak. If your very existence is political, if you are a person of color in a tech company, if you're LGBTQ, if you're somebody who's not like normal cis white guy, you have a political identity. It is weird how they can just close this off. I don't know if you have thoughts about this, Sherlyn, because I just was a little flabbergasted by it.
I have questions, and let's focus on my two main ones. One, societal topic basically means everything.
Everything.
If I talk about The Bachelor recap the next day, that's a societal thing. It could be because I'm like, oh, look at them finding love, or oh, Colton Underwood came out. Like, come on, like how are you not gonna? What? That's too broad, like of a topic to just ban outright. It just feels too harsh. The other question I had was, does this list still exist? Because
they apparently like apologize for this and squashed it and say it was the founder said it was their responsibility for letting this go on so long. But yeah, they haven't released the list or anything. Nobody has leaked it yet.
No, we don't want to
happen.
We don't need the list. It's more like if their reaction to being shown that your employees are doing this started maybe as a joke but turned out to be very offensive thing, is to just, sorry, we're not going to talk about it, is that's bad. But if they owned up to it and they accepted that they have a part to play and then stopped it, then like I can be a bit more forgiving here and be like, okay, they tried to do the right thing, and this seems like a misguided attempt.
Oh boy, I just encourage everybody to go read Jason Fried's blog post. It is one of the strangest things I've read in a very long time, and I think Coinbase instituted a similar policy, which they're less of an influential company, so a lot of it didn't get as much hubbub, but it is just very strange to me. I have to say, I think I've been pretty lucky to work at places where we could talk about things, and certainly here at Verizon, we talk about all sorts of things because we kind of have to, because different types of people, that's your customer base, or that's your audience. So yeah, I'm just a little weirded out by that. But let's move on to something else. So that's just been kind of niggling at me, which is Substack. newsletters. So many newsletters. We just brought up Casey Newton, formerly of The Verge, who has his own Substack newsletter now. You may have noticed a lot of your favorite writers, a lot of prominent folks are moving away from their media companies and towards Substack newsletters. That includes prominent writers like Charlie Warzel, formerly of the New York Times, Ryan Broderick, he does Garbage Day, Kim Zetter, who's a great cybersecurity reporter from Wired. A bunch of folks have moved over to do their own thing with newsletters on Substack. And I just also want to point out here too, a really cool collaborative thing with those writers, and also Nick Qua, who does the Hot Pod, kind of podcast industry thing, analysis. They have a collaborative Discord called Side Channel, which is just, if you're a subscriber to any of their properties, you could get onto this Discord board, chat with other followers and readers, chat with these writers. They kind of host events. They introduced Side Channel with a Zuckerberg interview, which seems like a pretty big, like, very justifying event. I've played around in this thing. I subscribe to Hot Pod. I think it's really cool, but it is funny to be in like just an IRC chat with super nerdy news people who like these writers. It reminds me of being on AOL back in the day when I would just like find little chat rooms for for anime series and games and stuff like that. I thought we were supposed to hate newsletter, or I thought we were supposed to hate email, right? But it seems like newsletters have made a huge comeback, especially with Substack. Do you have any thoughts about like this overall trend, Trilin? Like it is a little weird for us to talk about it because it is sort of like, it is kind of in media, but I also think it's an important technology trend that's happening right now too.
I mean, I think we're just talking about things that affect people and how they get information. So that's fine. Here's the thing. The thing you talk about newsletters kind of resurging, it's been happening for a few years, I think, because I remember back when, newsletters went away and then SEO became the whole thing. And then they started coming back. I remember a company I was working for was like, oh, we got to figure out newsletters now because like they're what works. People like them, people click them, they drive traffic.
But so that's newsletters as a marketing vessel, right? Like
yes, I hate that.
As a way to just like push links to your stuff. And hey, we do that in Engadget. Everybody does that. It's kind of an important thing. This is more a trend of newsletters as I am a writer. I am
and I write directly to and for you.
Yeah. And I'm making stuff directly for you, my dear reader who wants to pay for it. That is a little new and different. Yeah.
Like going full indie and relying on the newsletter as your sole platform, I think is what you're talking about. And that's certainly a more recent trend. I mean, back in the day, I was talking about more like a Dan Primac, that sort of a newsletter. But this, I mean, the whole moving to Substack thing was a thing that I was always a little bit like feeling a little about, because it means that like you start to have to trust individuals and you have to pick. I mean, there's pros and cons. You choose to follow who you like and who you like the voice of, which for some people, that's how they understand the world, right? Like they need someone they like and trust to make sense of it for them. And that's fine. But this person, like individuals and organizations are both fallible, but my personal gut, like my gut feeling is the way we work at Engadget is we have like checks and balances. We have people to do fact checking. You have
editors, which is something you don't have as an independent person, basically. Yeah, exactly.
And I can, like, when I don't know a little thing, I can go to Devendra and be like, hey, Devendra, do you know about this gaming laptop?
And I could just ignore Sherlyn. I have the power to do that. Yeah.
There's that, but he can also be helpful and help me, which he does.
Yeah.
And I have other teammates for things, just content for a gaming question, for example. So when you move to a Substack, you can narrow your focus and just be like the authority on this thing. But it also does mean that you're responsible for all of that work. And so for readers, you should hopefully understand that's the change, right? You don't really get the breadth of knowledge. You don't maybe get the same fact-checking resources as you might have at, say, a New Yorker magazine, which is why I like organizations like that, because those publications with huge fact-checking teams, that's who I get my info from.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting trend also because we're seeing things like Patreon and other ways of paying creators directly, which, hey, I subscribe to a whole bunch of Patreons. I help run a Patreon for my movie podcast. Like I like to send money to people I love who are producing content. So my favorite YouTubers, I have subscriptions to all their patrons and things like that. This is just like the Substack, the newsletter change is like that for independent writers. It is just interesting. I don't know how sustainable it is. Like, I'll say this, because so many Substacks are expensive. They're like $50 to $100 a year annually, or $5 to $10. Yeah, they're expensive. Or I think around $10 a month, $5 to $10 a month. If you're paying monthly, you're paying a lot of money for individual writers. So I think you can't really collect a huge collection of these folks, because a New Yorker subscription costs you $100 to $150 a year, and you get so much more from different writers and different things. I pay for New York Times, which is still like a 25 to 30 a month or so, but I get a lot from that. It is an interesting trend. I don't know how viable it is, but I have to say, like, I do miss the days of the early internet, right, where we could produce our own content, kind of have a handle of it, and it would still get attention. So social media and things like that have changed the value of a personal website. But I do think like the newsletters are kind of bringing things back, where like, okay, you're not coming to my site, I'll just throw all my crap to your inbox. I could see combining this stuff with podcasts or something else down the line. I'd like to do more of that myself, but it is just a weird trend right now. Go read some. There's Ben Smith at the New York Times did a great piece called "Why We're Freaking Out About Substack," which goes into just the sheer amount of money they're throwing at writers. They will give people like upfront payments of like $400,000 to $500,000 to run a Substack for like a year, and they will basically, that's money they would take out of people potentially subscribing to their newsletters. Alternatively, people could just like, grow their channel organically and probably end up making a lot of money with that too. Just kind of interesting to me. Like, there's a lot of money in here. I don't know how much of it is sustainable. Also, Substack is wisely, I think, criticized for a lot of the other people they brought on board too, including people who just kind of suck, like Glenn Greenwald and Andrew Sullivan, and people who are within a certain conservative echo chamber, so like there has been a lot of consternation about that. Substack as a company, not quite sure if they'll survive, but I do think there are other alternative solutions. Like, I think it's called Ghost is the newsletter, like the open source newsletter thing. There's a lot of ways to do this, and I do miss the ideas of I miss the way of the old web. And this side channel Discord thing, this is cool. It reminds me of a web ring. It is all these people coming together to kind of share their readers and share their access and things like that. So hope to see more of that. Let us know what you guys think about Substack. We will be, we'll be thinking about newsletters and things too. Like, this is the way media is changing. And another old thing that's kind of coming back that I want to hear your opinion about, Trillin.
Old thing.
CES. Old thing. I remember CES. We go to CES all the time, right?
Oh boy, yes. This week, the Consumer Technology Association, the CTA, announced that CES will be returning as an in-person event in 2022 because it cannot the hell wait to tell you to start booking.
Like, for the love of God, please come back.
Space. Yes, exactly. Convention space, all the hotels, all of the, just give us your money. The CTA is like, we want y'all to come back. Anyway, it is supposed to come back as a combination in-person and digital event in Las Vegas between January 5th and January 8th, but the press days are going to be starting from January 3rd. And there are apparently some big companies that have committed to going to CES 2022, including Amazon, Google, Intel, Samsung, Sony. These are expected to have a presence, which is interesting. Amazon doesn't usually have a so-called presence, like a space or news anyway. They might have a booth that I barely ever check out at CES. But yeah, I mean, if these companies are going to be there, I mean, it does sound like at least some reporters might have to go out there.
We'll see. You know what? I think Las Vegas is kind of a hellscape to visit and everything, but I miss going places and seeing people.
Same.
If we're vaccinated, if people are vaccinated, my 2-week post-vax timer is ending this Friday, so
nice.
I'm ready to kind of go do things. If our vaccination rates are higher, by the end of the year and certainly by January, and we can do these events safely, like I would happily go back. But yeah. I'm gonna wear a mask the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And it's CES. I'll probably just
anything.
not touch anything, probably wear gloves too, because I don't trust everybody.
Same.
We know COVID isn't huge about being transferred over surfaces, but I'm talking about cold and other things.
I'm talking about shaking hands, not
shaking hands. My last couple of years at CES, I just never shook hands. I always used hand sanitizer. I never got sick at CES recently anyway. So I'm going to keep that up because it was already
basically
kind of
just do that. Yeah.
Just do that forever. Yeah.
I will say this. I mean, I am nervous about some of the variants we're hearing happening around the rest of the world. I know that I was talking to my parents in Singapore, and the cases are going up for the variant that came from India, as well as
India is like horrific right now. It is
horrific right now.
Yeah.
So if we can keep the international travel to a minimum right now, like we might have a chance of not getting a huge import of cases of the variant.
Yeah. Hopefully we can also help the international community as a country. This is something we should be doing, and all the rich countries should be trying to get their vaccine stockpiles and things out there. Help the world, help each other.
Interesting news from Asia, but I'll leave that for outside of this podcast. But no, the CCA is aware, right, that people will be nervous. I mean, even before COVID, people were getting sick at CES all the time. There doesn't seem to be any guideline right now as to like, will they be requiring people be fully vaccinated before showing up, or that would be nice if we could confirm that at events. Like, it is excluding certain people, and clearly if you can't get access to vaccine, and you want one, that's not fair. That's not great. But to restart kind of the world and how some of these meetings work, and things like that, like, it does make sense to kind of host these things just for folks who are vaccinated, but we'll see. I need to think more about the ethical. Yeah. Maybe administer tests for people, or some, find a way to let people have a chance to prove that they're healthy enough to come, I guess.
It's just, it is so complicated. It's going to be, and CS is already such a mess. Like, imagine juggling all these other considerations as you're talking about news embargoes and running around all over Vegas and stuff. Ugh.
And having to worry about not catching a deadly disease. Yeah, absolutely. But I guess it's going to happen, and we will see. We'll keep an eye on it, basically.
We'll keep an eye out.
I'm personally quite excited to go back to Vegas, if for no reason other than they're opening a Singapore hawker style food hall.
Don't you can get a lot of that in New York and New Jersey, Sherlyn.
No, but like resorts, they have like names and types of food that I don't get access to pretty easily here, so I'm excited. I mean, like, we'll see.
I don't trust any food in Vegas because it's not like it's near the ocean or anything. Like, seafood there's a lot of stuff that is just, it physically can't be fresh, so that is just a little tough.
Food in Vegas, but okay.
I've had good food, but like steaks, like not other things. Let's talk quickly about let me just see your notes. Okay. Well, yeah. If we don't have that, Let me just see what's going on here.
Okay.
Nope. Let's go to your thing, Sherlyn. Okay. Why don't you take it to the next step?
Yeah. Let's talk about more heartwarming stuff that got announced this week. On Wednesday, April 28th, I believe, Microsoft announced a new 5-year commitment to help bridge what it's calling a disability divide in the gap for including people with disabilities in society, in the digital society in particular. So our article on this focused on kind of the AI side of things, but I kind of wanted to run through some of the other efforts that Microsoft is going to commit to over the course of the 5 years. So it's going to use AI, like I said earlier, in Microsoft Word to kind of detect and I guess convert and like modify the heading styles to make things easier for people who are blind and have low vision. So, to more clearly demarcate sections, for example. And it's also starting up a new low-cost assistive technology fund to help people who can't afford assistive technology. Which is actually pretty nice. Like, assistive technology so far can be pretty expensive. Like, you want a wheelchair that's motorized and is connected to Bluetooth.
Yeah.
man, like that's going to cost you. And insurance doesn't always cover the best wheelchairs, right? So like, I think it's nice for Microsoft to consider that. There's going to be a new Excel navigation pane for screen readers that'll make make it easier to discover and navigate things in a spreadsheet. It's expanding its immersive reader. There are new LinkedIn features that include auto captioning for live broadcasts on LinkedIn. A dark mode, which is not just an assistive feature, but helpful for people who like dark modes. And yeah, a bunch of other stuff, including like pilots and tests at University of Illinois and Urban Airband Initiative that provides affordable broadband and new sign language video call capability through Microsoft stores so that their deaf and hard of hearing customers can shop more easily, which is just beneficial for them. You know what I mean? Like that's a straight like buy more stuff from us, but it's also nice to be able to help shoppers who might not have the same, hearing capabilities as average or anyone else. So it was nice to see all of this being introduced or I guess explored or committed by Microsoft. And I kind of wanted to applaud that, and partly also shout out that like Microsoft's chief accessibility officer, Jenny Leigh Fleury, is a person we've, interviewed twice at least now. And she's just a really great champion for, accessibility and assistive technology and the rights of people with disabilities. So I'm not surprised that Microsoft is doing such a good, like, to me, what looks like a good job at least. So that's a piece of good news.
I mean, they've been doing this for a while too. We've talked about their Xbox controller and kind of the way that's opened up gaming for people who can't hold a normal controller. So, hey, I think this is one of the good things Microsoft has been doing for a while, and I hope they stick at it. Like, as we've covered Build, as we covered other Microsoft events, like I think what's interesting in the post Satya Nadella Microsoft is that it's become more of a human-centered company, not just like a company that's like, oh, we got to be in mobile phones because Apple's in mobile phones and we got to do this and we got to crush that market. It's more like, how do we actually help people with their technology? And if that means leaving mobile phones and bringing our apps to the actual platforms that people are using, maybe that's how we could be successful and how we can actually help people. And they've been doing a good job of at least following that line of thinking. So I hope, I hope they can actually commit more to this, and I want to see more of this from them.
Yeah, happy to see them lead the way on this too.
All right, let's take a pause here.
Yep, and then working on.
Yep, and we'll do a wrap up Q&A at the end.
Okay, I was gonna do like a really quick one right now, but yeah, we can go to.
Let's just finish it up.
Okay,
might as well. That's gonna be really fast. Okay, so in terms of what let's move on to what we've been working on. I spent a bit of time with Returnal, which is a new PlayStation 5 exclusive by the developer Housemarque. Yeah, it is a terrible name. I hate the name, but the game itself is really cool. It is sort of like it is a roguelike similar to Hades, a game we talked about last year. And, it is sort of like, it's a game about dying. It's a game where you'll die a lot and you'll kind of restart from the same starting point. But every time you go through, you'll either have more experience in terms of actually knowing how to play the game better, or you'll get some items that can actually help you move further. It is really cool. It is a combination of like sci-fi horror. There's a lot of alien and aliens in here. Ooh. There's like Prometheus and things like that. You play as a female astronaut who is just out there. She crash lands on this planet. Everything wants to kill her. She's stuck in a time loop. Don't know what to do, but there's also like things haunting her. There are sequences where like you find a 20th century house, on this alien planet, and it's her childhood home, and you're like, what is going on there? There's like some great like psychological horror as well. It is a fun shooter. Feels really good to play. When I talk about games, sometimes I like to talk about just the way a game feels, the act of moving and running around and shooting and doing things. I think back to like some of my favorite games from when I was a kid, like Super Mario World or Castlevania Symphony of the Night, games where just the movement and existing in that world felt good. This really feels a lot like that. It is a, third person behind the camera game, but it has all of these sort of like shootery elements that Housemarque has done with some of their earlier stuff. So they're known for like bullet hell shooters like Super Stardust HD and stuff. Now it's like in like a third person thing, it looks much more impressive. And it's very wild to be, you know, facing enemies that are just like spewing walls of bullets right at you, and you have to move quickly or deflect them or, you know, jump through them or something like that. So I love the movement, love the shooting. It's a very hard game. It is so hard. It is so frustrating at times. Like there are runs of this game where I've put in like an hour or an hour and a half, and just one stupid misstep makes me lose the entire time. I go right back to the beginning. So it is reminiscent also of like the Souls games like Dark Souls and Demon Souls and everything. But honestly, I find it more engaging. I think maybe because I just like sci-fi more than dark fantasy. But I can't stop playing it even though it keeps punishing me so much. I will have a review up on the site soon, probably by the time you're hearing this. So check that out. I think it's really cool. If you're waiting for a good PS5 exclusive, Returnal is probably going to be worth your time. So there's that. And also want to take, I'll be writing up soon something about the Moxie robot, which is it is like a child-centered robot. It is a cute little friend that you can buy for your child, and it'll like talk to them. It'll, you know, play lessons with them. It is like sort of like having a Wall-E, or more like actually it looks like Eve from Wall-E, having a robot friend that you can interact with. It is a cool idea. I need
it's
to
like that Black Mirror toy from the Miley Cyrus episode.
Yeah, it has cute arms. It moves. It animates really well. It has a big face that is basically just a giant projector screen. I don't even think it's LCD, but it has a face that's like really expressive and really cute. Like it moves and acts very normally, and it is something meant for kids. I tried to introduce it to my daughter Sophia. She would have none of it. Like she started crying immediately as I turned it on. So I have to play with this kid's toy by myself down here in my office. It's really cool. I'll be writing it up soon. I wonder. Yeah, it's kids are interactive. You can have lessons.
She's terrified of it.
She is terrified of it.
This is hilarious because first
daughter.
of all, my first instinct as we're looking at the kind of like video for this robot, I was at first terrified of it, but eventually you were like, it's cute. I'm like, okay, you know what? I can suspend my skepticism to say maybe it's cute. But the fact that like your daughter was terrified of it, she's got the same reaction as I initially did. This thing looks kind of like one of those like old school Teletubby toys. You know, like when Poe would be like, whatever the hell. I'm not gonna make a Poe sound right now, but it's like an animatronic.
You know the names, amazing. Yeah,
I know all of them. Do you want to tell? I can tell you all of them.
Nope.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
Shut it down.
No, that's what it kind of looks like, the head shape, and but bulkier and stiffer. It kind of looks like the spawn of something unholy.
It is something. I'll say my daughter loves gadgets and tech stuff, but I think robots in particular freak her out. Like when she was really young, our Roomba would just terrify her, and also loud things. Babies don't like loud things, but she's learned really quickly what the Roomba was. And just at one point, just saying the name Roomba would make her cry. So it's like she is like the robot resistance. This is a generation of kids ready to fight against the robots when they take over. And be sure to check out our live stream if you want to see a video of what this thing looks like. Yeah.
Oh my god, our video team is killing it with a snapshot of this robot that just looks
this
soulless.
Thing is just sleeping next to me. I'll point my camera to it once we are out of podcast mode. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. What are you working on, Trillet?
Yeah, I am working on getting a PS5 all over again to play that game. Now, I still don't have a PS5, and I would like to play this game Returnal. If it ever hits other platforms, that would be fun, because that's my kind of game. It sounds like a lot of fun. I'm working on reviews, a lot of reviews, and I can't really tell you guys about it, but also coming up is a bunch of events. I'm sure you guys can mark you have maybe marked your calendars for them. But yeah, that sort of stuff. Just all kinds of stuff I can never tell you guys about because I'm not sure whether it's breaking embargo to talk about them at all.
You have all this cool stuff. Secrets. You have secrets. Yeah.
Always. Yeah. Secrets. And I'm working on myself. There you go.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yes,
Let's move on. Let's move on to our pop culture picks. Sherlyn, what do you have to shout out?
Yes.
This week?
So I was thinking on what my picks were this week, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I have been such a boring person this week. I've done nothing new or interesting. So I was going to go back to one of my older picks, except because I banked some of these picks. Then I realized that this weekend I actually saw, now this might not be a pick. This is just I saw something that's new. Mortal Kombat, the movie. Have you seen this yet, Devindra?
I have seen
Do you like it?
Thank you for bringing it up. It is I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it. I'll put it that way. Entertaining to a point. I really like a lot of the cast, including my man Joe Taslim. Like he is as Sub-Zero, just kicks a ton of ass. But a lot of great martial artists, a lot of great like Japanese like samurai film people too, like Tadanobu Asano are in this. It is not as fun or campy as the 1990, 5 or 96 movie, but I had fun with it. I just wish this movie has good choreography. There's some cool action set pieces.
The fights are great.
The fights are great, but they don't know how to edit. So it's like the difference between watching, a Hong Kong film or something, or an Asian martial arts film where it's like, oh, to like let a shot last for 3 to 5 seconds, where you can actually see this actor knows how to kick some butt, versus this movie where like I feel like there are 5 cuts in between somebody starting a punch and ending a punch. It's just a little too much. Like, let me see the action, please.
Right. It's almost like that's where they wanted to bring the camp in, right? With the cuts. It's like, here you go. 1 punch will take 5 cuts because that's our idea of camp. I think this movie definitely, like you said, it takes itself a bit more seriously than the earlier Mortal Kombat version. But I enjoyed the story that they tried to set up. Even though it's flimsy, and I just like stuff that's set in this mythical, strange land. And
but what the cast? Louis Tan, so many people I love seeing.
Chin Han, a Singaporean, by the way, played the ultimate baddie. I mean, look, I had a fun time. Not necessarily like this won't get like an Oscar or whatever. I don't think it's not like that sort of caliber of movie, but it was a fun ride. It's one of those where you can just set it and forget it in the background, but also still like veg out. My non-pop culture pick and an actual pick is a while ago I was doing some shopping. This was months ago, and I didn't want to buy clothing from brands that were very I don't know, just not using great practices, right? Either, I don't know if sweatshops are still a thing anymore, just as long as they're not very
definitely still a thing.
Yeah. So I just wanted to stay away from that. So I was asking around for people who knew like good, and I just wanted to diversify the brands that I bought or shopped at. And I was asking around for recommendations for brands, and I got a lot of good recommendations on Twitter, but our senior commerce editor, Valentina Palladino, actually I think she's commerce editor, she recommended this directory called goodonyou.eco. It's basically a directory of brands that you can buy clothes or other stuff at, or accessories at. And they're all from companies that are socially conscious, environmentally conscious, trying to do the right thing. So they use the right materials. Their practices are green and environmentally friendly. And it's a good way also just to discover new brands that you might not have heard of before, because there's so many brands out there. And I'm sick to my stomach if I have to shop at another like Shine or like Wish, that sort of like fast fashion sort of brand. I just can't do it anymore. So, I mean, if you were like me looking for a place to do that, the goodonyou.eco directory might be a source of inspiration, maybe.
Cool. I'll check that out too. I'm always looking for like new things, Sherlyn, so thank you for that. I just wanted to shout out a couple of things. I've been catching up on Carol and Tuesday, which is a show I believe I've mentioned before. It is the the latest series from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Shinichiro Watanabe. It's about 2 girls on Mars who just want to start a band. That's it. It's about music. It's great. I kind of fell off like great. It's an amazing looking show. Great animation. Animation is by Bones, the studio that did Cowboy Bebop and a bunch of other like big anime series. But yeah, it really leans on the music thing, which I think he had a lot of fun with Cowboy Bebop. Lots of great pop music in this. It is about girls just trying to like make their way, like trying to make music that will make themselves feel better and kind of change the world. It is really cool and inspirational. The music kicks ass. Like I think it's really good. It's not just like J-pop. Like there's a lot of good like pop music in general in here. A lot of good tunes, that kind of straddle very different genres. So check it out. I really like Carol and Nice. And also, just I don't know, want to shout out Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. I'm super disappointed with the way it ended. I think as a series, it is a complete mess. But hey, it's done, and they announced another like Captain America movie because it's going to be Falcon, as Captain America. I have to say, the saving grace of this show is the great Carl Lumbly, who appears. I won't say what role he's in, but whenever he is on screen, he was a side character on Alias. He was Sidney Bristow's partner on Alias. He starred Mantis in Mantis in the 90s. It was like a 90s sci-fi show. He's a great actor who just adds so much weight and pathos to every scene. And the character he plays in this series, I think, is really good and adds a lot of complexity to the way we think of super soldiers. Because it turns out, sure, a lot of people ended up being heroic soldiers in the military, but also, especially for soldiers of color, they were vilified, and the American government did not support them when they came back, and the public certainly didn't either. And Carl Lumbly plays a character where the weight of that has basically destroyed his life. And I wish we had more time with that character, and I wish the series was smart enough to kind of explore some of the things it introduced early on. Like, I think the pilot is very strong, but man, does it just like fall apart midway through. I think they had to like rewrite the show because of COVID and things like that, and you could tell like it is just kind of a mess. And I didn't really care for the finale or anything. But if you want to stay up to what's new with the MCU, I guess you'll have to see this. I just don't think it was that great. I wish it was more like WandaVision.
I do think WandaVision was definitely a lot stronger than this, but I do like that this series dealt with some more serious issues, I guess, with like
kind of
sort of it tries to start talking about them. I wonder if they're going to go in a like try to explore it a bit more. Hopefully,
did you finish it, Sherlyn?
I finished it. I'm all I might have forgotten most of what happened in the last episode
because it's completely forgettable.
Because I had to keep rewatching it because I kept like the action just kept happening, and I was like, oh wait, I missed all the action. Let's go back to the start again. But I mean, I like that. Like, I think the arc with Bucky is interesting, and I think Sam Wilson's arc is also interesting. I just don't know if they spent enough time. And TV is the format for you to like kind of dwell and explore these issues and their impact. So it's interesting. A lot of the commentary I saw on Twitter around Falcon and the Winter Soldier was that it could have either just been a movie or like it needed to be longer as a TV series, and that it was
longer. Maybe longer would be better, but I also feel like halfway through the show, it also wasted a lot of time too. So I do think the writing was just not there to keep it like to actually say everything they want to start saying from the first episode. Writing just kind of fell apart. So there's that. Also, worst goddamn suit in the MCU. You'll see it at the end. I hate the suit. I hate the final. Really? I hate the final suit.
Yeah. Wait, the last episode for Sam. You're not talking about the other. You're talking about the.
I'm talking about for Sam.
Okay, good. Yeah. I hated it too. Okay, good. Because
the comics, and it looks bad there too. It's a joke. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. I think we can wrap, Sherlyn.
Yeah. Ben, do we have a clean out?
I think I might just have Devendra say, like, it's the worst suit in the MCU. Like,
sure.
Okay, do that.
Everybody deal with it. So, yeah, you can do the outro now.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week's episode, everyone. Thank you, as always, for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Elman. You can find Devendra online at
Devendra on Twitter, and I podcast about movies and TV at the /filmcast at /film.com.
If you want to tweet me pictures of cake, please don't. It'll just make me hungry. But I'm at Sherlyn Lowe on Twitter. Email us your thoughts at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts, including Spotify.
All right, we're wrapped.
Time for Q&A.
Yeah, not to be too creepy, but I think that robot might be like trying to sell drugs to the kids.
Oh boy.
It's
oh god.
It looks a little like it looks suspicious.
Yeah. Hey kid, how's it going?
Kid. Yeah, hey kid.
No,
you want to see what's inside my huge trench coat? So we got a bunch of things that I banked from the chat earlier. Oh, goodness, we were talking about a lot of things. R7M RBLX was talking about the game Detroit Become Human.
Yep.
They really liked that game. I think that just the name of that game is so silly.
You know what? I think
Detroit Become Human.
Here's the thing. I have a soft spot for David Cage, even though I think he always bites off more than he can chew. He's not a great writer. I remember Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was a lot of fun, even though a lot of that stuff was kind of silly. I interviewed David Cage for, was it not Detroit? The other game, was it Beyond Two Souls? So you could Google that interview. You could find it. That game was awful. So that game turned me off of everything he was doing after that. But I'll probably check out Detroit eventually.
And going a little bit further back while we were talking about Basecamp and stuff, pretty much everyone was putting the poop emoji into the chat because they thought that the Basecamp logo looks like the poop emoji.
Certainly their new policies really really embody the poop emoji. Yeah.
Jonathan Anderson says sounds like the corp choice is going to lead to their downfall. Also, the logo looks like an unfinished cat. Julio, can you pull up the Basecamp logo again?
Basecamp logo. Yeah.
Why it looks like an unfinished cat? I think it kind of like it has a tail sort of situation. Or
just like a poop. Everybody, listen, people spend a lot of money on logos, and they don't really mean anything or look very cool most of the time.
And then Raj Kumar says, Dev, your headphones look really cool. Please share model details.
These are the SteelSeries Arctis Pro wireless. I reviewed them actually a couple years ago in Gadget. They have a wired version and a wireless. I really like the wireless because it gives me a lot of freedom to like run around, and also you could use it on like game consoles and stuff too.
Okay, we've got the Basecamp logo loaded up, so can you show that to us? All right. I guess it kind of looks like a really minimalist drawing of like that thing where cats.
It does look like a tent.
Become a circle.
It is supposed to look like a tent.
It's supposed to look like a tent. Yeah,
but
kind of.
I hate modern logo design.
It looks like all kinds of things. I think Ashish Aurora was asking if I have any idea if the laptops will be available in India. I swear to God, no idea where they're going to be available, honestly. So we'll have to wait on
India is a bigger market for a lot of the tech companies. So Apple's made a bigger push there. All the social media companies have. They're not doing great there. So I'd bet on at least the Galaxy Book getting there, right? The cheaper ones typically make it to India.
I believe I Can Poop Twice a Day is gone now, but they were having a huge issue with my posture throughout. Look, I'm extremely tired and I can't sit up ramrod straight the entire time because I am sitting on a bench for this live stream. I don't have a
Jolene is just
don't even have back support.
Well, the key is to like lean forward a little. It's weird. Weird. I think
I'm leaning forward, but I've leaned forward for so long now that like my back does hurt. But Jonathan Anderson, thank you for explaining, and also Wilso. Wilso was like, I'm not even sure, Lynn, and I feel attacked. I'm like, thank you. I don't think they meant to attack me, but
wait until your 30s, then you'll really think about your back posture. Then you'll really feel it, kids. Yeah.
And people were all interested in the various headphone models we're using, by the way, too. The video using.
So that was the Arctis Pro wireless.
Oh, you did.
I really dig it. Yeah.
I'm using the Galaxy Buds.
And I guess I'm. What am I using? I think it's Audio Technica. It's an Audio Technica.
2032s. I don't know. That's how old their model names are.
No, ATH MX50. I'm not sure if it's ATH MX or ATH M50. I'm not sure if it's just the ATH M50 Classic. There's also an ATH M50X. This is a brand of headphones that you'll see on a lot of people. Most recently, someone that I saw shouting them out was Phineas. Like Phineas O'Connell, Billie Eilish's brother and also producer. He's like, I bring these headphones everywhere.
Cool. Have you seen the documentary yet?
No, I haven't seen the documentary.
You need to see the damn documentary. It's very good. Hello, Moxie. Listen, let me just point the camera here. I'm going to pick it up.
Oh yeah, where is Moxie?
Moxie is.
Can you wake Moxie up?
Oh no!
No, it needs battery. This is Moxie just chilling in my.
No!
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Oh wait, can you like tilt the head up so we can see its dead face?
It's just dead. It's just the poor.
It won't even
robot.
have a face because the LCD is not on.
Okay, yeah, so it actually looks a little bit more like all of the cracked spaceship or like space helmets from Returnal when it's off.
It totally does. It totally does. Welcome to my moving camera, folks.
You should just put it on your lap and then have it sit through this with you.
That's true. I could do that.
So John Lukoski says, very impressed with Sherlin's Teletubby knowledge.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe. And
yes,
Poe
there we go.
Oh,
cool. God.
My buddy.
And that is about the size of an infant. Like, if you could compare that with the size of your daughter, like how old would your daughter have been to have been that size?
This is like, 6 months. Feels like 6 months.
The size of a 6-month-old.
Big for 6 months.
I don't know. She was a big kid. She was a big baby.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
Moxie's very cool. I'll be writing it up, with better stuff. I wish we could do video for this, but it's hard to get video support.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have it on for our next podcast, we could have Moxie.
Oh God, yeah. So then we've got someone asking just a very general tech question, which is, it's Druv Karamakar, who asks, can we suggest any decent headphones around $200? Well,
depends on for what, right? Yeah.
The ATH M50 headphones that I was talking about, they retail at $150 right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I got these for $100, but I think that's just because of like global parts shortage.
A lot of things have gotten more expensive. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. Another one is that radio people always talk about are Sony MDR. MDR 7506 headphones. These are wired headphones.
Yeah,
these are wired headphones. If you do any kind of audio work or just want a really solid pair of headphones that you'll very likely be able to get 10 years from now also, like this is one of Sony's like such durable brands. Like people just buy a ton of these. If you look at any like video behind the scenes of TV or movies or something, literally all of the grips, all of the directors and everyone are wearing Sony MDR 7506 headphones.
Nice. They're relatively expensive too.
They're about $100. The Audio Technicas that I suggested, again, they come in at under $200. Now they're $150. If you wait 4 or 5 months, maybe it'll come back down to
maybe it'll get cheaper.
$100.
I have to say, the Sonys aren't super. They feel really flimsy. They're also like all user repairable too, so you could get individual parts to fix things. But they don't feel good on my ears because they're like almost completely flat. So there's no like ear space, and I have big ears, so that's not great.
So which headphones are you talking about in that
the
case?
Sonys. Those are the Sonys. They're really flat. I have them. I've used them for a while, but man, they're so flat. They like really press on my ears, so that's been a problem. I know people really like Wirecutter has been recommended the Monolith by Monoprice, and those are right at $200 now. So like there's a lot of cool stuff around like audiophile headphones and things too.
Yeah, in terms of like, let's say the over-ear headphones that you have, what would you suggest under $200?
Under I think Jabra. I'm just trying to think here. Like, it also depends on what you're going to be using them for. I generally like Jabra. They have a whole bunch of different models, and like think the Elite 85H is a little over $200, but it's going to have good noise canceling and things like that too. I think a good wireless headphone is probably a good investment for most people, because then you could use it wirelessly. You could still plug in a cable if you need to. If you can, like if you can ever get the Sony 1000 XMs, like either the XM3 or XM4, those often go on sale for $250 to $300. Save up, get one of those things, because that'll last you forever and they sound amazing. Yeah.
So Druv is asking about Sony WH, I think it's 1000 XM3. These are some wireless headphones.
Yep.
And so they're asking about like getting refurbished. Again, like getting refurbished always depends on the place that's refurbishing them.
It's the luck of the draw.
you have to be okay with the possibility of kind of getting a dud in that case. And wherever you get it from, you may or may not be able to do returns.
Yeah,
because any place that does refurbished models could very easily just have a absolutely no returns policy, which is a bummer, but that's what happens.
Yeah, I like Amazon's return stuff is usually pretty easy if you're okay buying from Amazon. I buy refurb stuff from them all the time. That's how I get camera gear. Refurb camera gear is a pretty good deal. Yeah.
And then that also goes to like the culture around any of the parts that you're getting. So like camera people take care of camera parts, whether or not headphone people there's less of a niche when it comes to headphones.
And there's more wear and tear too, like inherently with the headphone.
Yeah.
So yeah, good luck folks. There's a lot of good headphones out there. So it's hard to buy a really bad one. I'll say that.
Just a quick few questions I saw that I wanted to get to. I can put price today is like, is that an Apple TV? This is an Apple TV, but I'm using the Chromecast as well. Mark though has a question about Returnal Dev. Do you get better every time you die because something carries over? Is it like The Good Place?
Some things carry. No, it's more like any of these games. What carries over is you. In your
you remember it throughout
your ability.
The really important thing about Hades is that you actually there are upgrades that you can get as you go through the game, and so I think you're saying that doesn't exist in Returnal.
Very few. There are a few things. You get like a sword, you get a laser sword, you get like some equipment that will help you move through stages faster, but not like. It doesn't inherently make you more powerful. It doesn't inherently make you faster or anything. I assume there'll be a double jump. I think there's like a hook jump upgrade I'm still waiting to get. What really matters with these games is that you are learning more about how the enemies move and how the weapons work and things like that. Like it is more personal experience that is growing within every play. Yeah. And it's infuriating. I shouted out loud last night after a particularly bad death. After I had gotten so far. Yeah.
Truly, I want to play this. But it sounds I mean, I was making connections to in Mythic Quest the game called Dark Quiet Death. Because you were like dying over and over, and I was like, wait, is the point to die? I guess not.
It is kind of the point to die. Like you're not gonna beat this immediately. You have to learn how it works. Yeah. Cool.
Let's see. People didn't. R7M RBLX did not realize there was a Mortal Kombat movie. Either that or that's a joke. Because
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really well advertised, but no, it's on HBO Max right now. If you have HBO Max,
yeah,
I think they would be doing more wall-to-wall movie advertising if there were actual people could actually go to movie theaters safely.
Some people can't. It's getting to that point. So
I've been watching over-the-air TV recently, and it just seems like it's all pharmaceutical ads. Yeah. Like it's so weird, and it's especially funny because a couple of weeks ago there was that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle interview, and like a bunch of British people tuned into American TV to watch it, and so they saw our pharmaceutical ads, and they were like, what the hell? Like that seems so strange.
It is strange. Yeah.
I mean, John Oliver recently did like a quick cut of a montage of Fox News's ads where they really know their audience. It was there, and now this segment. It was pretty good.
And now this, yeah. Listen, misinformation too is everywhere too. It's a whole other thing happening. Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, chat. Do we have any other questions?
I mean, wanted to quickly acknowledge that Calvin RR mentioned Giordano as a brand. Giordano is a hard cut Singapore Asia reference where it's a brand you only find in that part of the world, I believe. Lots of comments, few questions from what I can tell.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, folks. It's always fun.
Definitely. Just making sure I'm clearing through the rest of them. I think Mark said something to I can't remember, but anyway, we see all of you. Thank you.
Okay, so if we're done, I think I'll thank our video team. Everybody, come back next week. The news is always changing, and we always have opinions. This stream comes to you via our video team, which is led by Kyle Mock with Owen Davidoff, Julio Barrientos, and Luke Brooks. But it's powered by everyone in the chat. Really, everybody in the chat are the ones who make it fun. If you've stuck around this long, if you're still in the chat, if you're still hearing me, you know that we live in a world of algorithms more than the average person. If you like tech coverage like this, you know how much we live in the world of algorithms. So write us on iTunes. It's silly, but it helps. And we'll see you next week.